cleaning my computer screen. It's filthy. I haven't really noticed until now, so that's a lot of build up. Good morning, afternoon, what is it? GM, wherever you are. Hi, and welcome to the show, and welcome to Friday and the weekend. What do y'all have planned? It's just me today, so feel free to come up and chat. I can only go a couple of hours today. I have things to do after this. But I peeked at the news. There was an earthquake in New York, the New York area. Is anybody around there? Can y'all tell us anything about it or come on and talk about it? It looks like there's no casualties, maybe. Happy Friday, Daniel Barry. Sports highlights. Check him out too, if you're into sports. I like the idea of having highlight channels for different interests. Chris was working on a one for the Panelverse where they'd have like weekly updates on what all had gone on in the Panelverse with the drama. It may still happen. Who knows? There's somebody out there that needs some cheer and some get well energy. So please send that out into the Panelverse. They're not feeling the best right now. And I guess that's it. If for those of you who are have those kind of beliefs. So that's that. What else? It's Friday. Things have seemed to have calmed down a little bit. Not that they were very chaotic or turbulent to begin with, but we'll probably just be hanging out in the Discord later, watching stuff. We're on one of the Big Brother Canada seasons. But we're open to other things. So if you have interest, you want to share. Hey, Vlad. What's up? Happy Friday. It's just me today. I have no topics. There's a book I'm rereading, and it's like it's one I've read several times. It's one on romantic criticism, but I'm like the conversations I've been having over the last few years. It's kind of helping to illuminate some of those for me. And there were some passages from it related to science and sense making and truth seeking and what science tries to do versus what art or aesthetics or aesthetic criticism tries to do. They have different goals or purposes. So I thought about compiling some of those few passages and presenting those one day, but I don't have them today. So all of that is to say I have no topic prepared today. I'm just winging it. So come on and chat and help make it a panel. Otherwise, I'm just going to sit here and ramble on. Frank's not around to tell me what the sad, tragic story of the day is. Otherwise, I would tell mine. So if you have ideas for story topics, political topics, cultural topics, philosophy, the arts, neurodivergence, autism, ADHD, we love that around here. All that stuff I just named, mental health. I like what I like a lot. It is just the personal look into people's individual lives, like when Chris is shopping or Cynthia's cooking or Moose is on his road trip and showing you his latest stuff like that. I just love seeing those little peeks into the lives of other people. So if you have any of that you want to share, This is a community effort, so if you want to collaborate on anything, if you have ideas for something you want to bring to the stream or present a topic that you either want to talk about or hear about, maybe have a round table over, bring them to us. We love that kind of stuff. If you're another channel out there that wants to collaborate or double, what is it called? Dual stream. We like doing that too. We like going on other panels. We love having people on our panel, et cetera, et cetera. So this is kind of a space or platform. It's a third place. If you're familiar with that concept, that we've gone over it before. Hey, Lib. So it's partly for all of us. It's for you too to come and add your piece to and put your little twist and spin on. The main goal, like the primary rule, I guess, if there is one, is we'd like to keep the channel. So we don't want it yanked from us. We like what we're doing here, and we want to keep doing it and figure out ways to make it better and help more people and reach more people, etc. So we don't want to get that thwarted or taken from us. So don't do anything that would jeopardize the channel. But other than that, oh, okay. I didn't even know you used a headset. Not that I really think about it much, but hey.
Hey, I just wanted to stop by and say hi.
What? How you sound miserable?
I am. I feel
Is
awful.
Lindsay? Is she having? Is she making you some chicken soup and
We
some
don't
ice
have.
cold Coca-Cola?
I have. I have
Bottle,
a.
preferably?
I have a Sprite here.
Okay. What did they tell you yesterday?
Says it looked like it was early stages of pneumonia. They gave me some medicine to try to like stave it off, but it didn't really give me much. So I don't know.
You feel worse?
Yeah, I feel way worse today than I did yesterday.
Do you you
I
have the
look worse.
ability to check into them and report if it's not working or getting worse?
Yeah, the My Chart thing gives me that ability, but they take some 48 hours to respond. So
Well, you don't have 40 hours. Like if you're already in their care and what their recommended course of treatment is not working and you're worse, you're already in their care. So they need to. You have like the electronic records where you can send them a message.
yeah, we have this My Chart thing.
Yeah,
I
that's
think
where I always start. Like I they make it so easy nowadays.
I
I
sent
just
a
send the
message
message,
already.
and sometimes the nurse or the MA or somebody will see it and is able to respond or answer some of my questions or pass it off to the doctor later, etc. But at least it's a first point of contact that's pretty. I find it pretty quick and efficient. So from there, they could triage your message, figure out if they need to escalate or what, or contact you sooner than later.
Yeah, I've been asleep since I got home yesterday. I've been asleep until I woke up just a minute ago. I'm just I don't. My brain's not working real clearly, but I thought I'd
No,
come on
because
for a minute.
it fluids and rest. Go curl up under the blanket. I don't know if you sleep with the cat or not the cat or Lindsay or big fluffy pillows or whatever, and just burrow for a few days and have a
Well,
big tumbler of water or liquid, whatever you like to drink, next to you.
no, I'm not. I'm not sleeping next to Lindsay because I don't want to give her this because this is very communicable. So
That's
I'm
true.
sleeping with her, but I don't want her to get sick.
Maybe your cat, whatever's gonna help, but rest.
Yeah, I am resting. I'm laying down right now. I'm not like. That's why I'm not on camera. I'm like laying down. I look like shit. So I just wanted to say hi since nobody else is on yet. You know, see what's.
It looks like Lib might come on, and I just remembered there was a topic Lib and I we always end the streams on topics that we mean to pick up the next time, and we never do, and I never go back and watch what the topics are. But there was a topic yesterday we were supposed to pick back up, so I'm trying to remember it.
Yeah, I had to jump off yesterday whenever like the doctors actually came in and started like doing stuff. So I was there for 8 hours yesterday. I was at the hospital for 8 hours.
Whoa! And it just in the room, like once they brought you into that little room, you were there for 8 hours.
No, from the time I got there to the hospital to the time we left with the parking lot was 8 hours.
Was it in the ER or you had an appointment?
It's a quick care.
Oh yeah, that's 8 hours is not too surprising.
Well, it was surprising because they saw me really fast. I mean, like I walked in, they immediately took me back for triage, and then I waited like for maybe 20 minutes in the waiting room, and then they took me into the doctor's room, and like I was only in there for like 20 minutes before the doctor came in. The longest part was waiting for the discharge papers, but still it's still at the end of I couldn't even believe it when we left. It had been 8 hours. It was like 8 o'clock because I went there around noon.
So he had already seen you, and they made you wait 6 more hours to get the discharge pay. I would have just left. They're going to be on my chart anyway.
Yeah, I don't know. I was so out of it and like half asleep. I didn't even care.
Wait, what? Okay, Vlad, what is this? I'm only casually scanning it, and already you don't sound like the innocent victim. I think you try to portray yourself fast, but let's see. Flow. What is a lifetime ban? Like, there's a way to ensure someone never ever can come back for building an inflow tower. I don't know what that is, but is in something racist? Cathartic release not allowed through written language. Is this, are you hinting at some kind of violence? Don't do that on this channel.
Yeah, I'm not sure what
Like, if you
Vladimir
don't get to say
about.
the N word, you're gonna go rough up Flow. I'm not the best at reading between the lines. That's what I'm getting out of it. That's some entitlement, huh? Like, I should be allowed to say the N word. I don't know what an inflow tower is either. I'm just assuming it's something to do with the N. When I see capital N in quotes, it usually means one clear thing.
Yeah, that might not mean that, but I don't know what else it means.
So you can explain more or come on and talk about it if you want. I'm still not clear on what's going on, but you said something expressive on Flow's channel, and okay. Well, I appreciate your candor. I actually quite respect it. Thank you. Yeah, that's kind of how it is for people like that. You, if you're one of them, Vlad. Sorry, there's not going to be a lot of places that are going to like want that. I'm interested in the fact, like, saying that word is cathartic for you. It releases something in you. That word specifically, or just any kind of taboo word. That's the part that I'm interested in the most right now. Is like the psychology behind it, because especially somebody like me that works with strategies to help neurodivergent people relate. Like, if maybe not that word in particular, but maybe there's ways, potential, and techniques for catharsis and release through language. So if I hear about the way this particular release works for you, it can spark some ideas or thinking in me. And this was all in text, like you got some kind of dopamine hit from typing it out, like releasing your aggression or frustration or whatever. And he said, not in my channel.
Well, you can get banned for that though on YouTube.
Yeah. But it was permanent.
YouTube can shut your channel down.
So you were kind of like poking the bear to begin with. You were testing the, what do you call it? You were like boundary testing, limits testing to begin with. Yeah. I mean, I see all the side. I don't think you were doing anything that you don't ordinarily do, but I see Flo's side of it too. Like I wouldn't want that on my stream either. I don't know that would ban the person for life, but it's his decision. I know, but Flo is not exactly the status quo to begin with.
I know he's pretty taboo in itself. He
Do
talks
you
about a lot
get
of this
something
drug
out of
dealing and stuff.
challenging Flo? Like, do you see him as a status quo? Do you get something out of challenging him? Or is he just like he's just somebody to challenge? It's not necessarily directed at him.
Yo, what's
Yeah,
up?
I don't think you're racist. Like, I think very few people, actual people, like, if you could look inside people's brains somehow and detect race, I think very, very few. Like, so few, not even as much as they're worried about COVID stuff. Like, even less than that. I think it's such a small scale. I think it's a boogeyman that more than it's an actual thing. Good afternoon, Lib. What's up?
Good afternoon. Are you talking about, you think people in like the United States aren't as
In
racist, or do you
general,
think it's like
just
the world?
but I can limit it to
I
United
mean,
States. I don't really know
oh
how
yeah,
they're doing
I mean,
in
I
other
can
countries.
I can agree if you limit it to the United States, I actually can
The
very much
BLM and the
agree.
George Floyd and all that stuff. I think that was a reaction to a lot of
The thing is, when
superstition
you
and
like, I think if you stretch it out to the if you stretch it out to the world, I think it becomes a less powerful argument.
Yeah, there's people in other countries that are
I
racist
yeah,
against all
like
kinds of different races. I mean, like it doesn't extend just to black people. It extends to white people, to Jews, to people from Mexico, to people from like there's people that are racist
yeah,
against people
these are
from
people
like
that didn't
other
have Sesame
European
Street growing
countries.
up either.
There's people that are racist against Polish people. You know, I mean, like
There's people that's racist against Cajuns.
yeah, oh yeah.
I just see it as
There's
tribalism.
there's French people who are racist against Cajuns. Like,
Yeah, I know. And the French and English hate each other. They've hated
it's
each other for centuries.
I mean, fair Cajuns are French rednecks, right? I'm just kidding.
Yeah, we kind of are hillbillies. But oh shit, I forgot what I was gonna say. Tribalism,
why does this always
racism.
happen to me?
Fuck, I don't remember. And okay, given I'm a steel man it or straw man it or some kind of man it. Even given that's true, I'll grant you whatever scale you want. People have the right to be racist. It's not illegal to hold those opinions or to be racist or to feel a certain way about a race, or that's not a crime. I don't even know that it's a moral issue. People in America, at least, people have the right to feel and think the way they want to feel and think, even if you don't approve of it. It's if they take actions that the law has some scope to come in and intervene.
I mean,
But policing people's like thoughts or mental states or beliefs or that I find very un-American or anti-American.
I mean, I certainly think that it's good to try to educate those people and to try to help them see past that racism. But yeah, I agree, it's not
Which we
illegal.
mostly have. Like even as early as my generation, like we were one of the first, what is it, post segregation classes. So even as early as that, I could see the education having an effect.
I mean, just exposure to other races makes you less racist. It's a proven fact. I grew up in a poor neighborhood around mostly other black kids. It's just why I've never had a discrimination issue with black people. Like most of my friends growing up were black kids in the neighborhood. So like I was a child, so like I didn't even recognize them as being black. They were just kids that her skin was darker than me. It didn't matter to me.
Yeah,
Same here.
yeah. The United States is
all one
a place
people.
that's pretty uniquely sort of like diverse. Like, there's a lot of countries that are diverse, but in America, there's this kind of we have this narrative or attitude that diversity is good, which is rare in the world, um, uh, unfortunately. It's one of the
Yeah,
reasons
there's
why.
a real sense of homogeneity amongst a lot of other cultures and countries that's very pervasive and and it's very subtle too. Like you don't see it until you actually see them clashing with the other races that they have the problems with, and then it's like, holy shit, like you guys are really racist.
Yeah, like when I call America diverse, I'm not just talking about like, oh, like other countries don't have a bunch of like different ethnicities within their country. It's like they do, but that causes a bunch of like ethnic and like racial tension, like significant racial tension. That
Way
will
more than here.
Yeah, like I mean, we've had ours in the past, but like honestly, we've done a pretty good job of like moving through it, right? Like we didn't have to like there's a lot of countries that the way they moved through theirs was like by doing ethnic cleansings, and we have done that remarkably less than other countries have.
Yeah, that's true.
To our credit.
Yeah. And I think a large part of that has to do with the fact that we're like a sort of an Enlightenment era democracy and all that kind of jazz.
Although I stand by my right as an American to make fun of Canadians.
Oh yeah, I mean Canadians are just weaker bitch Americans.
But I had a boss. He was like he wasn't my boss any longer when we became really good friends. But it was a place I worked at, and he ended up getting like let go. We became friends, and he used to talk about when we worked together. He had a Canadian girlfriend. I thought he was making like a joke,
Yeah.
like people make. But he actually had a Canadian girlfriend, and we went to his apartment once for like a dinner party thing, and she had like a big Canadian flag, and I was like, "You should take this flag down. This is anti-American."
Anti-American, right?
And I was making fun of her for the Canadian flag all night, but everybody thought it was funny. It was all in good fun, But still, I reserve my right as an American to make fun of Canadians.
Canadians wish they were American.
Some of them do. The ones I talk to, more and more are.
I just thought it was hilarious that he talked about his girlfriend from Canada for so much, and I didn't even question him on him. I just laughed every time he said it. He was always, and later on he was like, "Why'd you laugh every time I said that?" And I was like, "Well, because I thought you were joking. I thought you were making the joke, like the high school joke about my girlfriend in Canada. I didn't think I didn't think you had a real girlfriend."
I don't know that joke. What high school joke?
It's not necessarily just Canada. It's like, oh, my girlfriend or boyfriend, they go to a different school. You don't know them, but like you don't actually have one. You're just trying to make them up to feel to like be cool.
Why would you pick Canada? I can understand another school. Why would you?
Well, I mean,
Canada?
it's like oh, it's far enough away.
Oh yeah, I have a boyfriend. They're in Nigeria.
Yeah, but it's like it's far enough away that you can't. And also, like the Canada
but it has
thing,
to be credible enough to be believable.
Well, yeah, but that's why the Canada thing sort of came about in like the late '90s and early 2000s
Oh,
when you had
okay.
sort of like the internet.
Maybe I was aged out.
And he was a black guy with like dreads and stuff and everything like that. And he had a really good sense of humor, and like our sense of humor like really meshed well with each other. So I just kind of thought he was just like on that level of like he was just making that joke. I had no idea his girlfriend really existed and lived with him and was from Canada.
Canadian.
Yeah. And so I would just like giggle every time he said it, and I guess it always made him feel uncomfortable. And I was like, I'm sorry I made you feel uncomfortable, man. I just thought you were making a joke. Like I just
Wild story. One of my history teachers in middle school, she was Canadian, and she had dual citizenship, and her husband was American and was trying to get dual citizenship. And I just remember learning that and being like wilded because I don't think I had ever met anyone who was actually Canadian before.
Right.
And I was just like, oh, so you're just like, so Canadians are just like basically Americans. And it's like, yeah, Canadians are Americans, but a little more north,
a little more prissy and
French
and polite.
Unless except from the ones from Quebec. Which I thought all Canadians were French. I thought like Mexico was Spanish and Canada was French, except it was really just we had a French teacher from Quebec, and I thought like all Canadians were like him, like half like they were bilingual. They all speak French.
French Canadians are like the opposite of Cajun. Like a Cajun is like a French redneck, but a French Canadian is like a posh Canadian
The
person, you know,
bougie,
a
bougie.
bougie Canadian, and
French.
like there's no excuse for that.
Yeah, we don't like them. We call them Americans, but we don't like that either.
There's nothing
Lib, do
worse
you
than a
remember?
Canadian accent with an air of arrogance to it.
Yeah, fair, valid.
Oh, Canadians have to learn French. We had to learn French too.
Yeah.
They started Head Start in kindergarten, but I didn't know all of Canada was required to, just because of Quebec.
I don't think
We're
they
only
are.
required to because it's the regional language.
Yeah, I think it depends on the province in Canada, because I'm pretty sure I know Canadians who don't speak French,
Oh, okay.
like who never learned French.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to force.
I knew
I'm
a
French,
few.
and I wouldn't want to force anyone to learn French if they don't have to.
I know a few Canadians that didn't speak French. Yeah, I mean, like that they were from like Manitoba or something like that. You know,
Mike was
But Jeff,
French
what was-
Canadian.
I
What
don't
was your
think
question?
John. I don't think John. Yeah, John from PF Youngstown. I don't think he knows French, as far as I know. He might.
I don't know. Lib, do you remember what topic we were supposed to talk about today? We always end on some topic we're supposed to pick up.
It was going to be materialism, but I haven't done any
Oh,
more like reading about it. So
materialism and like growing up as a rich kid and how that ties into
I can do growing up as a rich kid. I think that one is a pretty easy sort of off the cuff topic. I did want to mention though, I did see it was some ortho bro who did a quote unquote debate with Sneeko. And I don't know, like every time I see ortho bros, they don't seem as crazy as I've been led to believe. Like I've been led to believe that they're actually like kind of psycho.
Well, they're really good at about putting up that front until you piss them off or something, and then they go in and they turn into psycho.
They're not great at logic. But the
I don't know. Maybe I just keep seeing them interact.
The biggest criticism I've heard of them is that the online version, and maybe not all of it, but the Jay Dyer little group is not actually representative of orthodoxy as practiced in real life, and it's more of a cult. They call it the ortho cult or the Jay Dyer cult, and so it's more like a gang or a cult than reflective of genuine orthodoxy. And so that's the only criticism I've heard about it. But the individual ortho bros that I've talked to, I've had perfectly fine conversations with, the same as anybody else on here.
Yeah. Like I was gonna say, like,
who is Sean? We have Sean in the back. Is it Lanza? Can you show us on camera and tell us who you are in the private chat? Nothing's coming through. We've been having problems with spammers lately.
Oh, yeah.
P bombers.
Yeah, so
yeah.
I don't know who you are.
But
well, yeah, they're gonna hire cheap labor.
Yeah.
And a lot of times it might be jobs that are easy for foreigners to get or that don't really require on language skills.
Yeah. And I mean, yeah, like I do think there is like a kind of an issue with American culture sort of disparaging manual labor.
There used to be, I was thinking about that the other day, and I remember probably mid 80s, like around the time of Bruce Springsteen and all that. That was probably the peak of the American working class and having working class males and having societal support, etc. I've noticed a turn away from the working class from about that point. So for most of my life, but the working class used to get so much support from both parties, actually. But the Democrats, more than anyone, was known as the party of the working class, and now they're the party of the effete elite.
I mean,
Sean says he's from Ireland.
I'm sure.
I wonder if
mean-
he's Lindsay's friend that tried to come on that day.
He could be. He could be.
See, the thing is, like, I don't buy that. Like, I'm sure there. I get the sort of narrative that the Democrats are the party of like the effete elite, but like so are the Republicans. Like that, there's not really that much of a distinction between their parties in that respect. Like I think neither
As
of the
far as
parties.
support for the working class.
Yeah, as far as like now the narratives might be different. Like you might narratively like see the Republicans as more pro working class, but like neither of the parties are particularly pro working class.
No.
I mean,
I think that's a problem.
yeah, no, I agree. Hell, even like Biden's, bragged about how much. What's up, Moose? Even like Biden, who's been he's mentioned that, oh, I'm the most pro-union president, which like in our lifetimes is true, which is really fucking sad considering he broke the rail workers strike like last year. Like it's true he's the most pro-union president we've had in our lifetimes, and that's not good.
I'm reading Vlad's comments. He's not having it well wherever he is.
I know. I say let Sean on and let's see what happens.
I don't want to. Is that Sean Kelly? Is that the Sean that just tried to come on?
Probably.
Yeah, I couldn't see you on camera. I didn't see anything. I saw like some lights in the background, but.
Oh wait! Oh! So Sean did come on cam. Okay.
He tried to, but there was no image. Which that's another thing that the porn bombers will use. They'll pretend to come on cam, or they'll show like part of their eyeball.
Yeah.
So
which is so
I gotta
weird to
feel
me, like
okay, hey Sean. All right. Don't bomb my stream, please. We beg you. Hi, welcome. We're taking a risk. What's up?
I know. I'm just interested in the topic. To be fair, I'm a bit conservative, like, but I have mental health problems too, and yeah, there's a lot of problems on this planet, and it makes you anxious about all these things.
Yeah.
But I think humans can adapt. We're pretty smart.
Some of that.
Say what?
I think social media might magnify some of that. I wonder if people who don't use social media as much, I wonder if their levels of anxiety are the same.
I don't know.
Oh, so you mean if? Yeah,
I feel like people in Sudan probably don't use social media too much, but I imagine they're
I'm
probably
talking.
pretty angry.
Yeah, I don't know why. Like almost never, ever in my conversations, I'm ever talking about anything other than the U.S. and or sometimes the Western world. I don't know why you take all of our conversations.
I mean, you just said like you think
in the middle of nowhere that has nothing to do with what I'm talking about.
I mean, first off, like Sudan is probably one of the biggest civil wars going on currently.
Well, I will own my ignorance and my apathy on that one. I have a limited bandwidth, and Sudan.
I agree. You do, like everyone has a limited
and
bandwidth.
Some of it is, and I'll be honest, and I've been like this since I was a teenager. Some of it is just being American and not having to worry about things outside of America like other countries do.
Yeah.
So
but that doesn't mean that like things are great.
No, but my whole point, the conversation I was trying to have was the effect of social media on the current anxiety, mental health, doomer, black pill crisis that seems to be happening. And I'm thinking specifically of when I went back to Louisiana, and none of those people there follow the news or politics or anything, and they were some of the happiest people. Like all we did was relax and have a good time the whole time because they weren't they weren't exposed to all the doom that social media makes it seem like is out there.
Yeah, ignorance is bliss. That is true.
We probably had worse
ignorance
times.
is bliss, yes, but the opposite of that is like what's the opposite of ignorance is like too much information where it gets magnified beyond what it actually is. So it's over knowledge.
Yeah. Or sometimes
and not
just
being able to filter what's significant,
or sometimes just like misknowledge. I know,
to.
In the town that I grew up in, so, small town, there was a big stint. There was like some big deal made about some high schoolers who got found in a park smoking weed, and it was like this huge news story because it was like 4 high schoolers. Like it was a big deal. Far left Dem is a oxymoron. I'm far left.
I want to hear your thing about the marijuana kids.
Oh yeah, I mean, like even my mom was bringing it up to me. Like there were like newspaper articles written about it. The local news had a whole fucking story on it. They acted like this was the biggest fucking thing since like sliced bread. And it's like a bunch of 17-year-olds got caught smoking weed.
Is this like a little local small town?
I mean, not really. It's a town of like 50,000 people. It's a pretty sizable town. But that was like a big news story.
And how is this connecting to
it was overblown, I think. Like it's a very suburban.
I mean, we had stuff like that in the 80s where like the moral panics and news stories that would get overblown. Everybody
I'm just using that as an example. That's an example of what you're talking about.
But it wasn't on the scale that social media allows today, where you can have thousands of sources in one day feeding. Like there's so many inputs and information streams now that anybody could exploit.
Yeah.
Because I used to be that when Donald Trump was the 4 years of Trump, that's mostly when I started getting my news from social media. It was a hellscape. And it was mostly a hellscape because I was on Twitter every 5 minutes reading the headlines of what could potentially be going on in the world and having people comment and analyze scenarios. And if I had stayed away from all that, Trump's 4 years would not have been nearly the nightmare that they were.
Yeah, but I mean, also like there is this whole thing, I think, where people broadly are very bad about a critical examination of information, which is, I think, what you need to be able to interact with social media. Like, I do think social media can be a useful.
Yeah, but you can't require it or rely on it.
No, I know. I mean, like that's part of the issue is like we have now opened the Pandora's box of social media without even doing the barest.
But we did that back in the 90s with AOL and all this, like MySpace, Facebook, all that. We did that.
Well, I mean, for what it's worth, in the 90s, the internet was not nearly as ubiquitous as it is today. I think there is a functional difference between the ubiquity of the internet today over the ubiquity of the internet in the 90s.
Well, maybe I just live in very restricted circles, but by early mid 2000s, there's almost nobody I know that didn't have internet or access to it.
Yes, but like
or used it some kind of way, had email.
Yeah, used it some kind of way, but I don't think it was until like the late aughts and the early 2010s where you started to have like, because that's when you started to have the advent of like mass smartphone usage, where you had people having like basically constant access to the internet.
Oh, well, maybe so, but
I think
the access was there before.
Yes, but I think that I do think there's
an increase in access. You're saying might be one of
the increase in access has created something new, has created a sort of whole new set of circumstances.
And during COVID, when we went on lockdown, I my whole life was social media at that point. Like I was living every minute of the day was plugged into social media.
Yeah.
I kind of have it left. Really.
I mean, again, like, and oh, Sean.
Oh, yes, sorry. Sean. I want
the
you
evil
to
tech companies.
I'm sorry.
The evil tech companies are probably trying to make us all addicted to it and it's probably making us more depressed. Like,
Your microphone
I wouldn't be surprised if young
is
people nowadays have more depression.
Sean, your mic
Or,
is cutting out.
yeah, the internet
It's
probably.
roboting.
Yeah, it's the
It seems
internet.
like you're driving, so you might
Yeah,
be
it's
in
probably
a
the
patch right now.
sorry about that. All right, I'll mute myself.
Oh, I think you're back. I could hear that.
Yeah, I just think he
Um,
was on his. I think you're on your phone and you're just moving it around too much because I'm hearing a lot of like the
I'm in the
muffling and
car.
stuff. Okay, yeah, this is
I'm in the
better.
car.
Oh,
That's what it is. I think it's the background noise.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think mental health. Well, I have mental health problems, anxiety, and I can't even get a job. I'm so bad. I'm not sure. I heard that mental health problems are. I could be wrong, but young people have it more now. I could be wrong. Maybe
That's
with
what I
the social
hear.
media and the addiction to your phone and all that stuff. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, it's good and bad, I guess. Social media.
Yeah, there's definitely good that it's brought, but also like, and I do think that there is a unique problem that are facing sort of younger people, like Gen Z, and particularly I think like the Gen Alphas, the really young people are going to be. It's going to be bad for them. Um, the fact that they are literally growing up with social, like with Gen Z, like we got on social media when we were like young, which wasn't good for us. It's actually been, I would
What
say,
age would you say? Like
I mean,
you and your classmates?
I got on Facebook when I was like 11 or 12.
So that's junior high ish. So
Yeah,
the elementary kids are still socializing and playing outside and
yeah.
stuff.
That was me though. But then
Oh,
now you look at like my brother, and like my brother, now for what it's worth, Facebook's dead, but like my brother he was on YouTube, he was playing online video games when he was like 8, right? Like he was using my mom's iPad when he was like 5. Like that
yeah.
was
I've seen like toddlers with
yeah,
iPad, and they learn the ABCs and the number,
yeah.
all that, the shapes and color. Yes, I have seen that.
Yeah, and the wild thing is technologically, he's actually much worse off than even I was. Like he's not very technologically savvy. For
Is that
having
a
grown
him
up,
thing, or is it representative? You think?
it seems to be like at least him and his friends. So it could just be the group that he hangs around, but like I've had to have conversations with like him and his friends about like different stuff about like the internet and helping them like set up stuff. Like, oh my God, I had to help him set up a computer, like a desktop computer. I had to help him plug it into to a screen. Like he didn't like I tried to talk to him, hey, like
I
you know
mean,
what
I
different
can
cables
kind of
are.
maybe understand a
He's
kid not knowing
he's
that.
14.
That's high school age.
The end of junior high. But yeah, like he's 14 and I had to like explain to him what an HDMI cable was. Like
Well, it's hard to know what to make of that. Some
Well,
of it
there's
can be
different types of
yeah,
people. He might be special needs or something. I don't know. Is he special needs?
I not particular. Actually, of me and my sister, like he's probably the one who has needed the least amount of support because like my sister's super dyslexic. Like her reading comprehension skills are, at least when she was younger, were like poo poo. And she required like a lot of help, a lot of extra help to get that. And for me, it was like a lack of like social skills. Like I I literally got kicked out.
you lack social skills
Yeah,
growing up.
I know, wild, shocking. I know.
I'm just you're one of like the most well socialized people on
Well,
the panel. So if I use you as a metric,
I had to earn this.
I'm trying
Okay,
to draw
I had to go
implications
to
for the rest of us.
therapy.
So,
To
like, if we had met you in junior high, you would not be acting like you act now.
No, not even close. I probably
Oh,
it's most likely that I wouldn't have met you because I would have been too busy in the corner ignoring every single other person and just reading.
that's what I did.
Yeah.
I wonder if there was another one of us in the class. Would we have talked or just ignored
I
each
mean,
other?
I had friends, but like I only had a couple friends, and usually we were like kind of the
So
same kind
you
of
were
person.
quiet. You were more introverted.
I was very introverted.
Yeah.
Um, but then I had to I had to go to therapy. I mean, well, I went to therapy because I got bullied so bad in middle school that I like fought back against my bully and then got kicked out of school because I fought back.
Damn it! That's so fucked. That's injustice. That is so
I mean,
fucked up.
yeah, but that's life, like
Were the
This is what
bullies
happens when you set your
like
bully on fire, though.
do what?
the most fucked up bit was the person who was my bully had previously been like my best friend. Like that was the
How did that
thing.
happen?
I don't know. Well, I mean, it was in middle school.
Oh,
It was in middle school, so like it was like we had been best friends the year before, and then like the next year, like the year started and just something clicked and
oh
he
my
started.
god.
Yeah, I mean, it was a click thing, but yeah,
I have question. I want to talk about this, and I
yeah.
have questions because I have a similar story. But I will be right back, and then I want to get into it.
Yeah.
This is what happens when you set your bully on fire, though. I learned that the hard way too. So.
No, I threatened to kill my bully.
Yeah, I got bullied too. I mean, humans are kind of scary. That's probably why I have anxiety and all that stuff. Humans are quite scary.
Valid.
We're very
Humans
dangerous, aren't we?
we are, but like we're also like these like fleshy, vulnerable little like life is so fragile. People are so fragile. Or we are shockingly fragile for like being basically the most successful animal on planet Earth. It
We're a bunch
doesn't
of
really
little,
take much.
we're a bunch of little bitch snowflakes, aren't we?
Yeah, like people can drown in 1 inch of water, or you can just fall and hit your head the wrong way and just immediately die. Like
That's true.
we're very fragile.
We're fragile and badass at the same time. That's why we're taking over it.
Oh yeah.
So, Lib, how old were you when this friend started bullying you?
It's like last year, probably.
Yeah, like last year. No, it was 6th grade, so however old I was, I don't even remember.
Oh, okay.
Whatever 6th grade was.
I guess it turned out to be a good thing for you because you went to therapy and learned a lot of social skills, though.
Yeah, I did. Which was probably good.
But that it had nothing to do with you, right? Like the therapy hopefully wasn't about why did my best friend turn on me and start bullying me. Like
No.
about me?
It was mostly about like I got bullied, and then like after like going to therapy, it was like, all right, so how do you like, because like that wasn't so that specific instance was like more of a culmination of effects. Like I had also been bullied in 5th grade, where 3 kids basically like went in the bathroom and like pushed like and like shoved me into one of the stalls and just like it was really fucked up, and like it's something that basically only you know middle school boys would do.
Like in the movies.
Yeah, I like it was literally out of like an 80s movie. I was honestly kind of
Gotta be 80s.
I mean, I'm just talking about like those like like school movies from like the
Yeah.
I'm
What
thinking
did they do to you?
oh, they just like shoved me into one of the bathroom stalls and like
That's it.
yeah, and like locked me in there.
How it had locks on it.
Well, no. They shut the door and then like pinned the door closed and wouldn't let me out.
And it wasn't one of those that had like the
I mean,
space
that sounds like
under.
something kids do. What do you think made you a target? Was it the gay thing?
I mean,
Or gay?
I think it was just like I was quiet and nerdy and wasn't in the right cliques.
You're just too white and nerdy, as Al Yankovic once said.
No, I realize.
I mean, at the time, like, I mean, I guess it could have been like a sort of like homophobia thing, because I mean, for what it's worth, most of my at that school, most of my friends were like girls. I was mostly friends with the girls, and so it was like a,
Hell yeah, because he was a pimp, yo.
feminizing.
You're like in the movie Mean Girls. Gay guy
I
in Mean
mean,
Girls.
just a little bit. Like, I mean, I was just like, I was the nerdy little kid that also liked the Warriors books and the Hunger Games books. So that's like the crowd I would hang out with.
Oh,
And,
you talking about the Warrior Cats books?
oh yeah, dude, I fucked those. Those were great books.
My daughter was all into those. I bought her the whole series of Cats books. And like she told me all about them in detail. She would like tell me everything about them, and I was like, man, these books are kind of fucked up. Maybe I shouldn't have been buying these for my daughter.
They were brutal as fuck for kids' books. Like,
yeah, they're real brutal as fuck. Really, like there's some hardcore shit in there.
Yeah, they would describe the cats like gutting each other. Like, ooh.
Yeah.
Dang.
At first you said Warriors, I was thinking
yeah,
the 80s movies, The Warriors. I was like, but there's no novels for those. Oh, he must mean the Warrior Cats books.
Warrior Cats, yep. Hell yeah. But I mean, yeah. And then, I went to therapy and basically learned how to be quote unquote normal.
Because was that the theory? Like things you were doing were standing out and making you a target?
Yeah, that was the.
So you had to learn how to mask and camouflage yourself.
Pretty much, yeah.
How did that lead to social skills?
Oh, because it was like it was basically like, hey, so like I know that you're like introverted and like you literally would rather do anything else other than talk to people most of the time. But what if we like figured out a way for you to like to talk to people sometimes, like,
well, it worked because now you never shut up.
That's true. That is true.
And so it was the therapists themselves were the ones that coached you through the skills, and that was it. Like took a year or two, and that was enough.
Yep. Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah,
that's pretty good.
Therapy can be really good for a lot of people.
Yeah.
I wish therapy.
I need to get therapy now.
Yeah, no.
What, Sean?
I need to get therapy because I have problems. Yeah. Well, I was getting help, but I never really get it. So, do you say that therapy doesn't work sometimes?
It depends on what your goals are and finding the right therapist that can help you. Like people think they can just walk in any therapist office and get help, get diagnosed, and then help. And that's not therapy. Is a little more individualized. It's kind of like dating. You just have to shop around till you find the right therapist that works. But when you do, then it works. Like you end up like what Lib had.
Yeah.
Unless you have really low self-esteem, and then you just end up dating the first therapist that you come across.
Well, that's not even low self-esteem. That is unethical. That's a bad therapist. That's an unethical therapist.
I was joking, guys. I was joking.
But then also like there is something where like I also didn't really feel comfortable about opening up to that therapist about like when later on, when I sort of began sort of questioning sort of a lot of my religious beliefs, I didn't really feel comfortable opening up to that therapist about that because the therapist that I went to was
always something.
A religious therapist. Like explicitly, like I went to a church. That's where his like office was.
So the person that helped you with the social skills, this is a religious therapist through the church.
He was it was the Christian Psychological Center at a Presbyterian church. He was a real he had a degree, everything. Like he was like legit.
He was
I have much empathy and sympathy for you going to a Presbyterian church. That's not an easy upbringing.
I mean, fair, but I mean, the school I went to that I graduated from was a Presbyterian school, so I'm used to it.
Presbyterians are some weird ass.
They are
fundamentalist bullshit, like religious believers. So I understand.
Yeah, Presbyterians are
worse than Satanists.
Well, Presbyterians. So depending on the Presbyterian that you're talking to, they may or may not be Calvinists, and I don't know if you know much about Calvinism, but
I'm glad you brought that up because I had a tweet just today about this shit that I wanted to share.
Mm-hmm.
Let me find it. Why is it? Oh God, I hate this Twitter thing. It's long. Let me go over it and give. What it is it's okay. The Puritan settlers that settle the U.S. are predominantly Calvinist. It tells the parts of England they come from, etc. And when they settled here in the U.S., the culture maintained itself. And the thesis of this tweet is that it's the same culture that produced what's now wokeness and progressive ideology, et cetera, et cetera. And the tweet breaks down the different points of progressivism and ties each one back to how it shows up in early Puritanism to make the parallel more explicit.
Interesting. I might
So
be
it's
interested in that.
things like collective action, public education, intolerance, moral obligations, predeterminism, egalitarianism, social justice, et cetera, et cetera. Those
Purity
Puritan
testing,
values and progressive values.
purity testing is definitely something that came out of the religious right.
I'm also not necessarily. Wait, is it claiming that the Puritans were egalitarians?
That's a value of theirs. Same as it is with progressivism, with the equity versus equality. Why are you
I'm not. I mean, there definitely
Yeah,
were.
I'll post the tweet. It's
Yeah.
really long, but you can read yourself. Let me.
I mean, it would be their version of egalitarianism, though, Lib. I mean, it's not going to be the same thing as like the leftism version. It's like their version of
The
egalitarianism.
Calvinist colonists came from the most economically equal parts of England and extended that trend further in the colonies. And then they list.
Yeah, they didn't like aristocracy.
They also stress collective ownership between husband and wife. The original U.S. abolition and suffrage movements relied on arguments based on individual rights for all, rather than the progressive value of equality between groups.
Yeah, I mean those groups, and even some of the ones I grew up in, were very hardcore on purity testing amongst people. Like they would like do struggle session type things if someone wasn't like living up to their Christian standards, like type thing. That kind of thing. That kind of thing is very familiar to me. Whenever I see that stuff in progressive circles, I used to see it all the time in the churches I grew up in. So,
Vlad, I would love to talk to you one day.
Oh God, I need to
being a bully, because I was both too. I bullied and I was bullied. So I'd love to talk to someone who's experienced both sides.
I think I just didn't interact with people enough to be a bully. Like I didn't care enough about like other people to bully them.
Yeah, I would bully the older kids on the playground. I think it was like my way. It was like marking territory or so. It was definitely like some kind of mammal primate thing. None of it was rational or conscious.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Puritanism.
Everything we kind of do is kind of bullying, isn't it? Politics, business, it's all kind of bullying. Life, you can't really get rid of bullying. I don't think you'll have a utopian. There's probably some bullying that's accepted.
But do you think in a liberal society that we've evolved other ways of accomplishing the same thing in less, I guess, less primitive or less primal ways?
I think so. I think discussion and debate are actually really good sort of replacements for,
because I could probably bully someone into doing something or saying something, but I don't want to. If I can convince them to do, like, to willingly do it, that's so superior to me than bully. If I don't have to bully them, I think I could do it this other way. I actually would prefer that.
I think part of the problem is for sort of like civil discourse and debate to work. All of the parties have to engage in it in like good faith, and also all parties have to believe things. They have to like believe the things they're saying, which is one of the reasons why I think like with Jeff, like you and I have interesting discussions, because we both believe the things that we're saying. Like neither of us are like just
we're not working off of a common narrative. We're like, they use the phrase on the same page. You and I don't even think we're in the same book.
No, yeah, but we're in the same library. Like
Maybe
we're
the
still
same wing of the library, yeah. Or
yeah, but
maybe the same library, but not on the same floor. You're down in the
yeah,
basement.
but like the point is that like
Hey, the
when you or
basement's
I,
where all the good books are.
Well,
you know,
that's also where all the fun happens too. So I might be kind of
you know,
jealous.
when you or I talk, we're talking about things that we like believe, like, and we will like attack or defend based off of beliefs. But I do think there are people, especially in this in the panelverse, who like they just say shit. Like, it's a little bit
Oh,
like
just to get a reaction.
yeah, like it's
Yeah.
like have you ever tried talking to like a street preacher?
Sorry, guys.
Not really, now that I think about it.
Okay,
They had them in Austin. Like I got kidnapped by the Scientologists, but they didn't really try to talk to us. They just
yeah.
tried to show us a movie. But they had the people that would come up and try to talk, but I
Mhm.
got really good at ignoring them and make them go away.
Well,
So
because
I deliberately would go out of my way
yeah,
to not listen to them.
because that's the only thing you can do with people like that. Because like there's no like having a civil like actual discourse where any party can learn something. The thing is like at that point it's like just it's it's kind of like how like blood sports is. Like it's basically just a who can show that they're stronger. Not who can like
Yeah.
more adequately defend their position.
Yeah, it's a
Um,
might makes right kind of thing. Yeah.
yeah. It's a I have a rock and I will hit you with it until you agree with me.
And then the other person's like, but I have a bigger rock and I'll hit you harder
Yeah,
kind of thing. Yeah.
yeah.
I've never needed people to agree with me. I've never cared what people do, how they do things. I've never cared if they thought the same things. I've always been willing to let people be autonomous
I mean,
and
yeah. People are
self-determined.
allowed.
There's
People are allowed to be
I've
wrong.
never been irritated by somebody doing something, and I thought they should be doing this instead. Like I'm so even as a kid,
So
it
zen.
was so easy for me to just let people be who they
Wait,
were.
do you not agree though that it would be better if people thought things that believed things that were correct and didn't believe things that were incorrect?
Who are you? Correct according to what? Who are you to
I
determine
mean,
what's
I'm
correct
not
or not? We have science for
I'm not
that.
asking. Well, I'm not
We
asking
have
about like
philosophy.
I'm not asking how to determine that. I'm asking like, do you think the world would be better if people believed things that were more likely correct, or if people believed things that were
I
more
have
likely
no
incorrect?
idea. I don't know what the
So you
world would
think
be like because I don't even know
so
what
you
a
don't
correct.
know.
What I hear you asking is if people believe differently from than they did now, would the world be different? Probably, but I don't know if it'd be better or worse.
And at the same time, if there was nobody believing the wrong things, we would have very little metric for what's right.
I
We
reject your whole framework of wrong belief and like correct belief and wrong belief. Something just really bothers me about that.
What do you mean? What bothers you about it? Can you
That
explain?
the idea that there are correct beliefs and you talking about like flat earthers?
Yeah,
Do I think the world would be a better place if people didn't believe in flat earth?
yeah.
That's a tough one because
They
like I
have
kind of
the right to believe. I when I meet a flat earther,
Yeah.
I'm curious at
Mhm.
how someone could believe that way, but
Yeah.
I never have the impulse to like make them believe differently. I'm like, if that's what they want to believe,
Well,
this is
no, I'm not talking.
America.
I'm
They
not.
can
I'm
believe like it. So
yeah. No, no, no. I'm not
I
talking
don't
about.
have
Yeah.
this
They,
urge to make them believe,
they're
even if I
allowed to
think
believe
their
whatever they
belief
want
is
to.
wrong or not correct. I don't feel like it's for me to they've determined that belief for themselves. It's not for me to
Yeah.
try
No, no,
to
no, no, no. I'm not.
take it
I'm
from
not
them.
asking. I'm not asking.
I
I'm
kind
not
of
asking
respect
whether or
their
not you should
choice to believe
take
that
it.
crazy
Take
thing
it
if they
from them.
want.
I mean, sure, they're definitely allowed to believe whatever they want to believe. Um, like I'm not saying that people can't believe whatever they want to. What I'm saying is, do you think it's better for people to believe things that are true or better
Better
for
for
people
what better in relation to what? Better how? What
as
give me a context for better.
sorry, let me use a different word. Do you think that how do I want to phrase this?
People believe all kind of things that to me are not real, like religion. For what? It's if it's not hurting their life and it's helping them. I don't know if it's better for them not to believe it. I think sometimes believing in incorrect beliefs can actually be more beneficial for people's lives.
It can be, definitely. Is that always true, though?
No, but I'm not being dogmatic about any
Okay.
of it. As you know, I'm not. Like I never am.
Yeah, then you believe that there are definitely times when it would that either it would have a neutral either be neutral or be an improvement on someone
Yeah,
if they
there's a
believe
range of
something that is
possibilities, but my
yeah
position is that I am not the person to determine that.
I'm not
The
saying
other person is.
yeah
So
no I'm
it
not
doesn't
even
even
saying
matter to me what the options are because that's not my choice. That's not my battle.
yeah
That's for them.
you're not making any contention that I disagree with, though. Like you're pretending like I disagree with you, like you're saying this as though I disagree with you, and I don't disagree with you. People are allowed to believe whatever the
Well,
fuck they want to.
when you phrase it as, do I think it would be better if somebody had
Yeah.
a correct belief? That I don't hear us agreeing.
Well, hang on. So I believe that it would be better if nobody murdered. Does that mean that I'm like now saying that I'm going to go around and like personally like stop people from murdering because I believe that the world would be better if people
No,
didn't murder?
just believing that people should act a certain way is obnoxious. It's that waspy Puritan, morally self-righteous culture. Like
Oh yeah.
But both
not
sides do it.
behaving pure enough for your tribe.
Look, if
But both
believing
sides
that
do it.
people if believing that people shouldn't
Yeah.
if believing that people shouldn't murder makes me a wasp, then holy fuck am I a wasp. Because you know what? I do think people shouldn't murder.
We were
I
talking
know
about
that makes me a
things
wasp.
like, see, you're not. I never know how.
Because you said that in response to me talking. You
Like
just said that in response to me saying.
disingenuous you are,
Because the example that I
or
was
how seriously
explicitly
to
just
take you
using,
sometimes.
the example I was explicitly using was
Because we
yeah,
weren't
I don't
talking
think
about
people should
murder. You keep shifting the conversation to make your point, but we weren't talking about murder. We were talking about things like beliefs and thoughts, and making sure people had correct thoughts and correct beliefs. That's some 1984 like totalitarian bullshit. I get real nervous when I hear stuff like
what?
that.
Wait, again, you're just putting this. Okay, so I'm talking about having.
I'm telling you my reaction to hearing you talk about people
civil
having
discourse.
correct beliefs.
Yeah,
And
you're
the
right.
right
You know
beliefs,
what?
and
Yeah,
etc.
you're right. It is 1984 to want to have civil discourse to attempt to change people's minds if I believe that I think so. Because that's what I'm talking. That's what sure. Your reaction is like a you're inferring what like what I'm thinking though. Like this isn't what I'm actually talking about. What I'm actually talking about is I like having civil discourse with people because I believe that
so that you can change their beliefs to align them to more correct beliefs that you get to determine.
And in addition, I believe that having discourse with people also allows me to find like out if my beliefs are actually true or if something is wrong with mine, and if they if through the discourse I can find something wrong with my beliefs, I can change them to comport more. That's the whole point. It's a back and forth. Civil discourse is a big thing about like it's a
I
search
understand
for truth.
that part. I understand liberal discourse.
Yes, it's all about like a search for truth and like understanding. That's the point.
I've even read Plato,
and that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm saying when I say I want to convince people. If I am having discourse with people to convince them of something, I believe that I have a better belief, I have a more correct belief than they do. And through discourse, we can make an attempt to figure out if that's true. And if it is, then maybe I can convince them. And if it's not, then maybe I can actually change my belief to be more correct.
I do that with the conspiracy theorists, the conspiratards.
Sometimes you can.
Out here. I think I have a belief that's way more correct than theirs, and I try to convince them, but I don't try hard. Like I'll make a few attempts.
Damn, Jeff,
but I'm not going to break my nail.
That's some 1984 shit, though.
Jeff, I like politics and Are you a Trump supporter or something?
Am
I
I
don't know
what?
much about you.
Am I
A
what?
Trump supporter? Trump supporter?
No, I'm not a Trump supporter. I don't want either one of them. I think they're both old, way too old. It's going to be a hard choice. A lot's going to depend on the vice president picks, on what happens with these criminal trials he's going through. So I would only support Trump if I thought that the other alternative was a worse choice for my values. But I
You're
have
gonna vote
not
for
made the decision.
JFK?
I don't want to have to support Trump. I really don't.
Robert, who other candidates are there? I think RFK Jr. Well, Green
RFK,
Party.
RFK,
did you say? I
yeah, the
don't.
problem
I
the
don't
problem
think.
with so yeah, there's a couple
I'm not
problems with
happy with him
RFK,
either. He's
and
kind of kooky to me.
the main honestly the main problem with RFK is that he's running third party, which means in America functionally that he's not an actual candidate. Um, a- as far as like presidential elections go, third parties, the amount of work a third party would need to do to have a fighting chance is like you're talking like at least a decade pre-election of like grassroots like on the ground work.
I mean, yeah. I mean, but
Um,
if somebody wants to gamble,
yeah,
they
I
have
mean,
the means to do it.
again, I actually don't think that I
This
think a
is
third
not a bad time to try it because nobody's happy with
well
the candidate on
the, pro-
either side.
the problem is I think this is a bad time to try it mostly because the actual like ground legwork hasn't been done, right? Like
I know, but like to me, it's a Hail Mary. Like if we're stuck
yeah,
with Trump or Biden, what does it hurt
yeah.
for somebody to throw us a third option?
Oh, I mean, I think like if there could be a way to possibly convince enough people. The problem is like there are too many people who are absolutely going to vote for Trump or who are absolutely going to vote for Biden for a third party to be viable, no matter what, right? Like, I I don't think I think the amount of people who vote for the Democrats or Republicans right now who will do that just no matter what is too high for a third party to be viable right
So
now.
you think even with a third party, there's not going to be enough like people to break away from their party loyalty?
Not as things stands right now.
Well, are you basing that? You just basing it on like intuition or impression?
So on a couple things. So intuition and impression do form a bit of that. However, also there is the fact that for a third party to have like a reasonable chance of getting enough like solid support, you would have to have like years of work done.
But not
before.
not when both choices are like a platter of doo doo on one side and another platter of doo doo on the other.
But I
Like
don't
that's an
see.
exceptional circumstance that might tilt, like that might mitigate some of these difficulties that third parties have.
This is like that's true, but I don't see enough sort of like breakaway from like the hardcore Donald Trump fans and the hardcore Biden fans or Biden voters. I guess there's not really any Biden. Nobody really likes Biden. They just are going to be a Biden voter
because they don't want Trump.
Yeah, or like because they're like they vote Democrat, and that's
I would vote Trump because I don't want not so much Biden, but Kamala or whatever comes after her.
Honestly, that's valid. It's going to be Kamala, but it's valid. I don't really like Kamala either. I think she's entirely without charisma, and also I think she's kind of a bad person.
I liked her at the beginning before she was
Really?
the pick. I had no issue with her. I didn't really know her that well, and I was kind of excited that she was in the running. And then when he picked her, she wasn't my first choice, but when she got picked, I'm like, oh, okay, this is cool. I'll have a problem with that. I'll give her a chance. But once I actually saw her on the job, it was cringe after cringe. I was embarrassed that I even supported her.
The biggest thing for me is like she just lacks basically any charisma. Like I don't know if you've ever heard her speak, but like
Yeah, I've seen the clips.
She
go
like
viral.
she has never had any amount of charisma. Like, look, there are a lot of like stupid shit. There's a lot of stupid shit that gets said about Kamala, but like I do think the biggest genuine criticism is that she's Rizless. And that's for as a politician, like not having charisma is probably the biggest stain you can have.
I know that's what keeps me from running.
The only things, you know.
Well, no, not the only thing. That and all the naked.
We should have AI in the future running with like AI. different company AIs will be running the
Well,
politicians.
that's a managed democracy, right? We'll just have an AI. We'll answer questions.
Joe, come
A-
up and join us.
The AI will
You said you would come on
ask us
today.
all these questions, and then the AI will tell us who we should vote for. It's flawless.
I
Yeah.
decide what standards I live by. I could tell you that. That's the easy one for me. I know there are people out there and on these streams that would like to be the ones to decide, or they talk as if they would like to be, but
Every individual.
I'm not one of them.
Every individual decides the standards they live by.
Anyway, you say that. Clip this. Save it somewhere.
I would love for you to find any evidence of me saying that individuals should not decide the standards.
Well, you have very strong. You support their right to decide, but you have very strong opinions on how they should decide.
No, I have.
You're like the waiter that shows the menu,
decisions.
but really has a strong preference that the customer order this one thing.
Yeah.
And it's just,
and actually, I do. Okay, so when I worked at a coffee shop, I actually had so I have some pretty strong opinions about coffee. However, there are certain circumstances by which you do voice those opinions and which you don't. Right?
Not with me. Don't try with me as a customer.
No, I'm saying
unless I ask, or you can recommend. You could say, "Oh, we have this wonderful, magical, golden roast today that we just love, and we're trying to tell the customers about." I don't mind stuff like that. And I'll be okay. I want my normal coffee, etc.
Yeah. Or but I'll talk with my friends about how, wow, I just really fucking hate blonde roast coffee. I really hate it. And
but as a barista or even a counter person, to me, your role is to be a little more neutral and let the customer's preference.
Which is why when I'm a barista and when I'm on the bar, I basically let the customer decide. And if the customer asks, then I offer suggestions, but only if they ask.
That sounds normal.
Yeah, but that doesn't change me from having opinions.
Right, but you don't act on you still cede the power of choice to the customer.
Absolutely. That is exactly what I'm talking about. Like in this instance, we are actually discussing our opinions, in which case I think it's probably valid for me to voice my own opinion and what I think other people, and my opinion is, I think it's good enough for me. And so therefore I think that it's good, but
for everybody.
Well, sure, but I don't.
It's the way you take yourself as the measure of everyone else. I think that
everyone thinks that.
No, I don't.
I
don't tell me what I think. I absolutely acknowledge the right of everyone to have different.
Oh no! I acknowledge the right.
And preferences and ways of doing things, and ways to behave, etc.
Absolutely. I never denied those. So why are you implying that I did deny them?
You do you do.
No,
and you just acknowledge you have very strong opinions on which one of those things people should select at any given time.
Commie. Joking, sorry.
I mean, I am a communist, but I'm seriously trying to figure out what are you you're implying this about me.
Okay, well, I'll tell you, when it happens again, I'll point it out because it will. So next time it comes up, I'll say, see, this is one of those times where it seems like you're trying to.
You're right. In fact, I will ask if I ever tell somebody, you must believe this thing. I need you to correct me because I don't believe that I can.
Well, not that they must believe, but you condemn their current belief as being so incorrect until they adopt the one you want them to.
That's not, well, first off, that's not why I condemn things. First off, I don't condemn them.
But here's the difference, I think, between me and you, because I said, I do the same thing with the conspiratards. Frank, he's not feeling well. I don't know if he's even at the screen.
I'm here. I'm just listening.
Yeah, don't interrupt. He's trying to rest. Don't interrupt him. Let him get well.
I did want to ask one thing earlier. I was like, I can't remember what the definition of WASP is.
White Anglo-Saxon Protestant
acronym.
Okay. Because Lindsay asked me the other day, and I was like, I don't know, white affluent sexual predator. I don't know.
White affluent sexual predator. Actually, I kind of like that. Oh my god.
Please let me keep my entertainment channel. Please
Oh
let me keep
god.
my entertainment channel. So, Lib, I think the difference between me and you is when I'm talking to the conspirators, and I think they have what I'm calling a incorrect opinion, or what
Yeah.
you're calling correct opinion. I call it an incorrect fact, and so I'm challenging their opinion against fact. You challenge people's opinion against your own moral opinion, not necessarily against reality or any kind of fact, but against
Yeah.
what you think the opinion should be, your moral
Well,
stance.
all opinions are opinions. There are facts, and then there are also opinions. And
Right. And I think
we all have
you
opinions.
counter opinion with opinion, and I try to counter opinion with fact. And I think that's
Not all opinions can be or are countered with facts.
the link is yeah, let me get it for you. It should be pinned at the top, but I'll throw it in. There you go. So
Yeah. So
say that
what do you
again.
think about climate change and the environment? I'm big into that. I'm a
I'm
big
not a catastrophist. I'm not freaking out about it. I think it's gradual and it's slow, and I don't think we're in like we have to do something right now or the world's gonna go up in flames.
I'm the opposite. I think we have to do like a World War II style effort, like a war
What
effort to
makes
solve this problem.
what convinces you of that?
The science that I'm following on Twitter. I follow a lot of the scientists on Twitter and YouTube and all that.
Yeah.
It's quite
How
scary.
here's where I'm stuck. How do you determine what level of crisis we're at? Like nobody, it's all a guess. Nobody seems to have the expertise to definitively say where we are on the threat scale.
Well, this is where it gets to conspiracy land. I listen to both sides. I try and figure out what the people who are against it are about. And I think their science is not correct. But I hope they're right, because if I'm right, then it's not looking good for the planet.
I mean, I hope all the climate science is wrong, because if it's wrong, that means that we don't actually have that much to fear. And
I
for
don't
what it's
think we
worth,
do.
I mean, yeah, like for what it's worth, like I do think that there are people who definitely overblow the impact that it's going to have on like the Western world in sort of an immediate sense. Like, oh yeah, there's going to be like, a catastrophe, and that's going to like bankrupt within the next 10 years. Like, we don't know that. However, what we do know is that natural disasters are increasingly getting worse and more destructive, and they are happening at higher rates. Which does mean that that's increasing as the years go by, and that's going to mean that we're going to need to sort of invest more.
Well,
in
y'all
our
need to go
sort of-
talk to India and China then, because it doesn't matter what we do if they're not going to be on board.
Oh no, I'm talking about like in terms of like disaster relief. I'm not even talking about in preventing.
That's another reason I'm not that like worked
I
up
don't
about
think-
climate change, because it
don't think-
involves the cooperation of countries right now that I don't think are going to cooperate.
I
So
mean,
it doesn't seem even realistic.
I don't think there's like at this point there's not really sort of significant things we can do to prevent climate change. We can mitigate the effects of climate change, and we can mitigate the sort of like overall things. Like, I do think a steady weaning ourselves off of a reliance on carbon.
Okay, well then
and
they need to
emitting
research
machines.
alternative.
I mean, yeah, we are.
energy
Like that's the thing.
Good. I think
And
that's
we
good.
do have them.
I think nuclear is something to look at.
Nuclear. Oh yeah, a combination of like nuclear, wind, and solar is basically what we need,
that, I
because
think, yes,
um
those are good
but
solutions.
those are very expensive solutions. So again, like there's going to be a lot of pushback to it. So we're going to have to be fighting this for at least as long as we're alive. In addition to,
I'm more radical. I'm more radical because I don't think technology is going to be able to replace a lot of fossil fuel energy, because fossil fuels are so powerful. To replace fossil fuel, our current lifestyle, with renewables and nuclear, is going to take too long. I think we're going to have to cut back on our energy demand by a lot.
Oh, I mean,
we'll still survive. We can still survive. We'll just have to reduce our energy. Our lifestyle is going to be reduced.
Yeah. No, I agree with you, Sean.
Come back and tell me when India and China are on board, and we.
Well,
I mean,
they probably know that the politicians probably know that they don't want, because solutions like renewables and nuclear it'll take too long. Like the scientists I follow say, we have to do it right now.
Yeah.
Hard sacrifices now. If we don't do it, we're a bit late now. So the bad things that are going to happen now with climate change are going to be so bad that humans are just going to have to do sacrifice. We should have done this like 50 years ago, 100 years ago, and we could have gradually changed. But now we have to do extreme things to survive. You know what I mean?
Is this
Because we delayed it for so long.
I agree.
Is this Joe?
It's him. How can you guys hear me? Not bad?
Yeah, you're actually coming in better than some of the people at their desk.
I don't know if you guys are familiar with these otter boxes, these cases for phones, but I've found that they interfere with the sound terrifically.
yeah.
So I'm hoping it's okay.
Yeah, no, it's perfect actually.
Awesome.
Well,
I'm
I
using
was
one too.
expecting.
I'm using one
a
too.
lot
I
of-
understand.
Sorry, I missed that.
I said
I
I was
guess
using
I'm a
one
little
too. I understood.
disappointed. I was expecting a lot older.
Well, I represent my my emotional age with my tag, not my physical age. But
There we go.
I feel old. So that's why.
Well, maybe you're our emotional elder.
Yeah, and I can tell you what, my eyes are telling me how old I am, because on this little screen I can see any of your faces.
You don't look a day over 35.
Well, the truth is I'm 50.
No, you're not. Wait, what?
Yeah.
No, I was thinking like half my age. Like you could be like my kid.
You look shockingly good for 50. I know I'm risen you up, but like, damn, you look good for 50.
You do look good for 50, dude.
Okay,
That's
I take
not
it
gonna
back.
lie.
I guess you were.
You look younger than me, and I'm only 42. So.
Thank you. Hey, can I wanted to share something with you guys about, you were talking about whose opinion is right and how do you decide what's right and does it matter? So what I thought, if you had basically just a couple minutes, is I would share with you how I came to be a viewer of the channel and how the truth of a matter, objective truth, drew me here. Specifically how my opinion started in one place and then changed to another based on what was objectively true, and that this is important in how we conduct our behavior and our political views. Does that make sense, what I just said?
Yeah, well, you talking my language so far, especially about objectively true.
Okay, so basically what the case with me for a while was, I was in discords, and in one particular discord where people were developing or debating faith, as we had discussed yesterday. There was a fellow in there that was a very clear troll, and he was using language disingenuously. He was using.
Was his name iFi?
No, I'm not sure what his name was, but he was using very esoteric terminology that he didn't understand himself, but it would derail conversations because other people also didn't understand the terminology. And it was a way of derailing genuine conversations that people were trying to have.
Mm-hmm.
And,
oh yeah, I've seen that tactic.
Yeah, and this fellow bragged that he had a back channel, a YouTube channel that he would broadcast these Discord conversations on. So I desperately wanted to get in on that YouTube channel, but the guy would never reveal it. Anyways, I was watching The Crucible and I saw Andrew Wilson doing a TikTok raid, and one of the TikTok raids. Now, Jeff, you can help me out here. What's that site that you went on where I first saw you?
Verbal Combat.
Verbal Combat.
Speakeasy. Yeah.
So
we ended up in a one-on-one together.
Yeah, you did. So Jeff was debating Andrew Wilson, and I was certain, just because part of the name, but also because of some of the demeanor that Jeff was this fellow, and I'd finally found him. And Andrew Wilson's demeanor was, I actually came into Jeff's YouTube chat later on and said, I don't approve of some of the ways he's behaving. But
I remember you now.
Well,
yeah.
Yeah. So basically the debate.
That sounds like Andrew Wilson.
Yeah, I didn't like what I really like the fact that him and others like Jim Bob, I believe they do some good work. They cleave into some of the hypocrisy and some of the modern worldviews that cause us real trouble. But I was distressed by the way he handled this debate. And what I thought I was watching is I thought I was watching a troll getting what he deserved from someone like Andrew Wilson. And I also thought I had discovered who this person that I'd been looking for was. So I came into Jeff's channel and I introduced myself, and it became very clear that I was wrong. I didn't have the right guy.
Oh, you
So
thought I was a oh, you thought I was another Jeff from
I thought
Discord.
you were different, Jeff. So I hung around for a bit, and my opinion on what I had seen happen when I was watching The Crucible has entirely changed. So there was a subjective truth. I thought somebody whose debate style I respected was handing a troll a little bit of a beating. Instead, what I was watching, I mean, Jeff, you had to have known when you were in one-on-one with him that there were 1,800 people watching you. You had to have known that, right?
I didn't know 1,800.
That's
He was
how
probably streaming it to his channel, but even his channel, 1,800 people never watch.
he was streaming. There were 1,800 people in there that evening. So basically what I'm saying is I was not watching what I thought I was watching. I was watching what I now consider an act of bravery by Jeff to sit in amongst that hostile crowd by himself and be personally insulted, not given the chance to speak, and never once react with anger. Now, that's brought me back to this channel, and it's the reason I'll sit here with this amount of viewers and have a discussion around, what does truth mean? Because in my opinion, the most important thing is maybe we don't understand what truth is, but to genuinely pursue it. If we're authentic in the way we pursue it, I have way more time for those type of people than I do for people who use language as a tool to deceive. So, so this is my position on objective truth. I do think there's one objective. I think we're all bound to it. I think we try and view it through a lens that masks it by definition, and that our ability to see it is extremely limited, and that's what we have to overcome in order to lead better lives. That's my position on objective truth.
It's not
But
that far
morals
from
are
mine.
subjective.
So, sorry.
Well,
The short
let me get a few clarifications from
Sure.
Joe. Yes, we're limited because we're human, and we have specifically human limitations. And currently, science seems to be the most advanced, possibility we have for overcoming those limitations and getting as close to the objective truth. I don't know if we'll ever reach it as humans, but it's certainly an ideal to shoot for, and we have made progress through science. Are there other, when you say we have to overcome it to live our best lives, are there other methods for doing that than science that you find?
If you're asking me that question, I think it's an excellent question. And I think the answer is yes. And this takes me to my disagreement. Like, I really am a big fan of Jim Bob's, but there are some parts, and for that matter, Andrew Wilson, but there are some parts of their worldviews that where I believe they hem themselves to a narrow path toward the truth by saying the Bible is objectively true and it's the only source of truth. So yes,
Is
there are,
revelation.
yeah, I believe that experience, not just individual experience, but cultural experience. What practices have proven themselves to be self-sustaining and healthy over time? These are embedded in our cultural memory. I don't think just one way of knowing is the way to experience them. I believe mathematics. You often read about people who are involved in deep mathematical sitting and saying, look, the way this equation, the simplicity and beauty of this equation tells me that there must be something behind.
Uh-oh.
Oh, he cut out.
This is getting good.
I know, it was getting really good. I mean,
I
yeah,
know.
he's building up to like
I agree a lot. I've said this about Andrew and Jim Bob both. With the things they're right about and they're smart about, they're really right and smart about, and they're good at. And the things they're not, they have these logical gaps or inconsistencies. And when they're operating from that area, they default to rhetoric because the logic and the dialectics are just not there. They're just the areas where they're weak in that. And so he's right. I agree with it. I agree that Andrew and Jim Bob both make really great points about some things, and they make really dumb points about other things because of these little spots of ignorance that they have.
I haven't really seen.
That's probably true for a lot of most people, though.
Yeah, I haven't really seen Andrew Wilson debate much, but I do think that he is actually probably one of my favorite moderators. Like, he does actual moderation.
He moderated P.F. Jung and Vosch debate.
Yeah,
and,
he did actual
he knew how to keep himself out of the picture.
Yeah, but then he knew how to insert himself when it was necessary. It was actually
and he has a respect for the art of debate.
Yeah,
to moderate it well.
Yeah, it was actually like really interesting because I've seen Andrew Wilson debate, and like he's fine. Like
the thing that Joe was talking about that Andrew I did was just that was not my first rodeo with him. That was like a replay of our first debate, which went on for like 3 hours, and it was the same loop. So I had already known what to expect, and I had been through it before.
Yeah.
This is how extreme I am. I would vote for a right winger that is pro solutions for climate change and the environment than a left winger that is not pro environment.
Based, Sean. All right, based, Sean.
Because the environment is more important than the political views, I think.
All right, Sean, you are now an honorary comrade in the revolution. All right, we won't shoot you. Okay,
that's okay because y'all all gonna end up centrist.
Wait, did you understand what I said? I would vote for a right winger that's pro environment and climate change over someone that is left wing that doesn't support the environment.
Yeah, but that makes that's you voting your values though. That makes perfect sense. If climate change is your top value, then you would want to vote for the person that supports that.
I think that A makes sense, and B also I don't support quote unquote left wingers who aren't pro climate change. So yeah, no, I'm with you there, Sean. It's actually good.
I mean, both sides should care about this. I mean, I'm very sad for the Americans that the right in Europe are more caring about the environment, but in America it's different.
It kind of depends. Depends on where in Europe you are.
I care. We have beautiful national parks here. I hike, I camp, I don't litter, I take care. Like I leave a very small footprint. My carbon footprint.
I think what he's talking about is the Republican Party is broadly like not just like not pro.
Okay, but why don't y'all go talk to India and China before y'all come to the Republican Party?
Well, I do, but like I live in America, and I have this is.
I know, but without India, like we are at an impasse. Climate change to me, it's not even worth addressing unless we can bring in the whole rest of the planet.
Hey, can you guys still hear me or?
Yeah,
your camera went out, but we can hear you.
So did my last statement, did I drop out right in the middle of it, or did you hear any of it? Or?
Yeah, it was about like Andrew and Jim Bob, and they make good points on certain things, which I agree with too, and not on other things. And then I think he dropped out. It's somewhere around there.
So basically, before I leave you guys, the basic point I was trying to make is around objective truth, and that I believe there is an objective truth. If you want to relate it to the climate change debate, there is an objective truth as to how much a man-made influence is affecting our climate, and how there's an objective truth about what we should do about it. Where we run into trouble is how politically we're influenced by whatever we happen to believe, by whatever worldview we carry. And that's the struggle for human beings. That's my belief, is that we need to search for the answers authentically. The problem with climate change is it's become a religion in some cases. You can't question it, right?
Or it's become an anti-religion in that you can't.
But don't we, again, with science, don't we have experts that are already doing what we need to be doing?
Yeah, I think you're right. But the problem is, in some cases, the scientists themselves, and you'll find this if you're involved in education like I am, there are some times when there are things that are scientifically known or known from a different perspective, but you can't speak them. It's not safe to say them. What I'm saying is politics can influence the science.
What? What
If
would
cure, then yes.
what's what's one of those things that it's not safe for science to? Are we just not going to know
No, I think
because
we
it's
will.
not safe?
I think there's some examples I can point to directly. I know there's certain topics that by talking about them on your stream, you run the risk of having the stream either taken down
So I'm
or
told.
I just
so.
use euphemisms.
So how do you feel about talking about the pandemic?
We've we've
Yeah.
done it before.
Just try and use euphemisms.
Okay,
Yeah, I mean, we've had people that have come pretty close to that limit, and nothing's happened. So, but
I'll give you an
Yeah,
example.
especially if you're making claims, just use euphemisms.
Okay,
this is an entertainment channel. It's not a
Yeah.
medical. None of us are medical professionals, et cetera, et cetera. The opinions are only the opinion of the person who holds them.
Yep.
Whatever other disclaimers.
Yeah.
Now, please.
So I'll be as obtuse as I can. Let's see if I can be fit into this mold. So I think that it's undeniable now, if you read the most recent studies, that some of the general advice given out by some health authorities was positive for some of the groups they were advocating that this medical intervention was given to. I don't think anyone, even those on the accepted side of the aisle, would now dispute that some of the new evidence is calling into question the advice that was given in a general perspective during the pandemic. And yet there were times when if you spoke about it, and as evidenced by our concern even now, are we going to get your channel taken down by saying the wrong thing, even if it's accurate? Now, there is a direct example of where the science, even when correct, can't be spoken of for fear of some form of cultural retaliation.
Well, in this case, it's not even like a cultural retaliation. It's like the site that we're on will censor the topic. I mean, yeah, I don't think any of us are here are like very pro censorship.
But why would they censor
Well,
it?
I'm also thinking of things like the race science and IQ science. It shows up, but then on the trans side, it seems like it's the opposite. Like, no matter what the science says, they're going to follow their version of what they want reality to be, regardless of science. So in some areas, it's science, and in other areas, it's fuck
Well,
science. This
wait.
is the truth instead.
Well, whoa, hang on. But it depends. Okay, so like,
have you read the book? Is it called The Bell Curve? The book on the topic?
Oh,
Yeah.
I haven't read it.
I
I'm familiar
haven't
with
read it. I'm familiar with it though.
Yeah. Okay. So that's an example of a book, and actually, quite honestly, I've listened to interviews by the author, but I haven't read it myself. But I do know the guy was just absolutely tarred and feathered. And
yeah, Charles Murray.
is that his name? Yeah, that's right.
I think that was his. Yeah.
Yeah.
Richard Herrnstein and Charles Murray.
Damn. Gonna make me like revisit the Sean video on it. He had the guy made like a 2-hour, 3-hour video on it. It was a huge thing.
Yeah. Hey, I'll say one last thing before I leave you guys, because I gotta head out again. I wanted to say that I saw a couple comments in the stream yesterday to start with saying, oh well, this stream is boring or whatever, and that's not the case at all. You guys touch on some really good topics.
It's fine.
Notice he's here every day. Like, all these people complain. They come here every day to complain for hours how bored they are. That's our troll, Frank.
I think you
Feel
guys
free to ignore him or feed him some workshops.
I'll ignore him. I'll ignore him then from now on. But I think you guys do good work. And these conversations, I was thinking about this today, like the one we're having now. I'm not going to sit down in my local coffee shop or my pub and have an authentic conversation about these topics like we are now, because it's dangerous for a bunch of reasons. Nor am I going to have the open conversations at work, at my place of employment. And it's quite obvious why. So I think the fact that you provide a forum for these kind of things is extremely valuable. And I'd like to thank you for it. And I'd ask that you keep doing it.
Oh, well, thank you.
Hear, hear.
That means so much. Okay, good. it's working.
And I think one of the things, Jeff, that I think is particularly good is that you sort of like cultivate a particular kind of environment that allows for these discussions, right? It's not just that, oh, you're here and anyone can come on. It's like you're here and anyone can come on, and we encourage these kind of like actual like back and forth discussions where people are.
Yeah, it's not really anyone can come on.
I mean, yeah,
there is like a curating, gatekeeping,
but that's good. I think there's
process, but
there's legitimate gatekeeping that can go on.
There's kind of an art to create, like this is a third place or third space, and there's kind of an art to creating that. And each type of space you want to create has its own skill set, and I'm good at creating these types, these like the digital pub where you can come and have the conversations that you can't at your local pub.
Yeah.
Although I don't know why. If I was there, I would have them.
Yeah.
May I ask what causes your shaking, your body movement like that, Jeff?
Me.
Yeah.
The autism. I don't.
Oh,
I
you
don't
have
notice,
autism.
Yeah, I don't notice I do it at all. I'm not even aware.
All
of
right.
it. It's
Cool.
Yep. I do have to wrap up myself. I have something coming up at the top of the hour. But we're here 7 days a week. We'll be here tomorrow, same time.
Cool.
Chris is usually here. Liv's one of our regulars.
I'm still here. I'm just listening. Are we watching Survivor or anything tonight?
We can. You mean like catch up on the one from Wednesday? We can anytime. Let me know. I have it.
Yeah, I'll be because I'm just laying in bed all day, so like Survivor would be fine.
Well, I have this thing coming up, and then after that, I'll be free. You want me to message you?
Yeah, just message me, man.
Oh yeah, I never remember to like my own stream either. So let me do that. The thing that helps the most, because we're trying to grow the stream, is to share, like and subscribe, of course, but share with others. Like tell your friends or share on social media. And if anybody can make clips, so if there's a clip you like, you can clip it and share it, etc. And really, though, the most important thing is just showing up and participating, being yourself, commenting, coming on panel, etc. That's what keeps us going more than anything.
Just enjoy.
Okay.
All right.
Talk.
Well,
Nice
Sean,
talking
it was
to you,
good,
Sean and Love.
good talking to you today. And
Yeah.
we're here, like
Same.
I said, every day. So
Bye-bye.
feel free to stop by.
Absolutely.
Take care.
Bye, guys. I'm heading out.
Okay. I'll message you later.
Yeah. Feel better.
Yes, definitely feel better.
I'm gonna go off and finish redoing my nails because I also gotta.
You do your own nails? You have your
Yeah.
nails did?
No, I do them and then.
Why don't you do a like a nail tutorial one day, and all we'd have to see is your hand, like
because I mean, maybe I have a camera. Part of the reason I don't cam is because I just don't have a good camera. Like I have a shitty camera from like 2004, and it's really bad. Maybe I could do
2004
or something like that. It's a really old camera. Like it's old enough that the drivers no longer update when I plug it in. That's how old it is. I mean, all I just do is I just put on black fingernail polish. I just put on like a glossy black. My fashion style is ideally goth. So,
Oh, okay.
I just like wearing black. Like my favorite femme outfit is like a black skirt and a black
the fishnets.
Also the fishnets. Not always though. The fishnets are just when I'm feeling fancy. And then just like a black shirt, and then I have this black hoodie, but it has the cat engines, those like big fucking like they're in all the big trucks and the big like heavy equipment.
Cat, the company. Yeah. I love Cat.
I've noticed there's actually a bunch of people that have Cat hoodies.
Clothes.
Yeah, no. My dad.
Oh, you have a Cat hoodie? No, they make good Cat and Carhartt.
Oh my god,
I love.
Oh no, I love Carhartt. Like I have a bunch of Carhartt overalls because I used to when I worked in Tennessee. I would wear Carhartt and Liberty overalls are like the shit. They're super nice and comfy and warm, and they look good. Well, mine don't because mine all have like paint and oil and shit all
Well,
over
I mean,
them
but
now.
that can be part of the look too.
I mean, yeah, kind of. I've done a lot of manual labor in my life, so that's just like just my shtick. I also have tools strewn around. I actually need to clean those up at some point.
You could do you could do a segment where you
I do.
teach nail tips and then
Mhm.
you do tools.
And then I do a tool.
Tranny tool time. Nails and
I actually followed this one
nails
TikTok.
and nails.
That's really good actually. There's
Nails and more nails.
a trans femme TikToker I found. She did like handyman stuff, and she called herself a handyman.
Oh.
It was cool. I thought
A
it was cute.
tutorial. Yeah, totally.
And I mean, it'll just be talking about how DeWalt is the best, and every other tool company can go suck a dick.
Maybe we get a sponsorship out of it.
There we go. DeWalt sponsorship. I'll be the next. It'll be the next Bud Light controversy. DeWalt is gonna sponsor a trans.
I'm not
creator.
opposed to if that's what it takes to get our subscriber count. I'm not opposed to it. I want it to be authentic though. I don't want some AstroTurf Juicy Smollett fake controversy. Let's be real.
No. It'll be a real.
That should be hard to do with this crowd.
Yeah, I mean, hell, I go on Flo's chat and like Flo's channel, and like half his fucking chat is like, "Oh, commie," and they just lose their
I
mind.
know, but they throw money at you too at the same time.
Well, they throw money at Flo. Let's be.
To shut him up.
Maybe, I don't know. I mean, they don't even shut me up. It's like they just throw Flo. They throw money at Flo to ask me questions.
To ask you questions.
Yeah,
Which they could just do for free.
They could just do for free. Yeah,
we get monetized and you wait.
Look, all I'm saying is Flo's.
Y'all haven't seen gatekeeping yet.
Oh God. then that's when Jeff's gonna go full on authoritarian.
Oh, it's gonna be tiered benefit. Y'all are paying for everything.
Flo tries to touch my butt all the time. Yeah.
He makes a lot of people feel dirty. He is dirty.
He is dirty. He makes me feel dirty, but I like it, so I keep coming back. But he also streams at like night, which is so annoying to do. Like,
yeah,
I'll
like
do it
all
sometime.
night.
Yeah, like I'll do it
Auntie,
sometime.
do you have like are you seeing someone? Do you have services for that at least that you can that's helping you check in on this?
Yeah.
Well, I hope you do. If not, consider seeing what's in your area. Speaking of services, I have to go do some of that myself.
You head out. You be well, okay? I'll head out.
Oh, hang on. Oh, okay. Cool. Okay. We'll be here tomorrow. Take care. Oh, so you're kind of just on your own with this? Are you in one of the states with the expanded Medicaid? And also, like, what are the support options where you live? Are there groups? Are there networks? Are there online groups, Facebook? Just so you have like some kind of support to get you through in the meantime. And if you want, remind me tomorrow and we can maybe see what's available in your area. I used to help people find resources as part of my job, so I can at least Google and have a look. Okay, in the meantime, keep taking care of yourself. Same for everybody else. It's Friday. There's lots of streams happening. I know Imp Dave has karaoke later today. Talcott's going to be streaming. They're easy. Usually has verbal combat on Fridays. You could go check that out. See who's going to be fighting and blood sporting tonight. And we'll be here tomorrow. PF Jung is doing his thing in the morning. He's been taking callers lately, so you can call in and disagree with him. And then join us here at 2 p.m. Central. And more gay than ours. Okay. Well, I'm glad I could deliver nice, manly, low gay stream for y'all. Okay. You too, Annie. Stay safe, everybody. And talk with y'all later. Take care.